I don't know what that was that just filtered in there, but it was a countdown. Maybe to, hey, would you get to a point already, Defo?
We're now live. So, but keep going because the other will be on the audio stream. So those are on video. You caught us in the middle. Hey, welcome.
Hey, welcome to the show. Yeah, no, good to have you guys with us here. We were already babbling about a lot of stuff that was relatively meaningless anyway, which is just going to go into the air, into cyberspace with our audio audience. All right, Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz with you, Ion Channel, a special holiday edition of the program. And it's going to be just a quick, short take here, as it would not be uncommon. And we're not afraid or ashamed to lean in on what would be normally the most unimaginative of sporting and or news themes, and that would be year-enders for 2021. Now, I don't know if I want to be so morbid today. You know, I think it's going to be one of those things where you don't want to bum people out going into the holidays, because we could go over the list, the obituary again of sports figures, which we were talking about last week on the program. And a lot of guys checked out that you would have thought, wow, I mean, I can't believe it. Hank Aaron, gone, all-time home run leader.
Yes.
All the stuff he put up with, the death threats while he was chasing down the Bambino.
Yep.
Ford Frick. I didn't want him to, that was the Maris thing. But no doubt he would have found a way to deny that, Aaron had. Hey, well, you know what? The fences are not as deep as they were when. Look, they built a ballpark for the Babe. Come on, Ford. What are you talking about?
Yeah, come on.
But we lost Hank Aaron. Floyd Little, one of my favorites. Tough son of a gun, man, and part of a great run, a legacy of running backs, right? Can I name them all now? Syracuse running backs. You had Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, Jim Nance, and Larry Zonka.
Yeah.
Not in that order. But that's pretty good. Syracuse University. And after that, their program fell off the map. They were never the same again. Once Zonka left, whoosh, everything out the window there. But Floyd Little, a very distinguished guy, too, and with the Denver Broncos for so many years, he really lit it up in the NFL. Right? Wasn't he part of the old AFL also before the merger? Floyd Little did a lot of damage there. Paul Westfall, we had him on the show before he died, which he died at a very young age. And Paul Westfall, we were fascinated by his philosophies. He wrote a book right before he checked out. And then, just died inexplicably. I don't know what the cause was of death there, but it was certainly nothing that you would have anticipated after we had just spoken to him. I guess he was, kind of an older guy, because I forget. He was coaching when I was still like in college or playing. And, he was a good ball player, too. Very heady ball player, Paul Westfall. And an innovative coach. Tommy Lasorda, one of my all-time favorites. But and we don't want to get morbid and go over this entire obituary list. Leon Spinks.
You're making me sad.
I want to cry. I wanted to feel good as we head into the new year here on Ion Channel. So I was looking at this, Lubie. I was looking at the championships that were won on the professional level in 2021. And, I'm curious to get your feeling about it, because I think you hated all of the teams that ended up winning. You certainly hate the Milwaukee Bucks because of the natural rivalry that they have going with the Miami Heat. There was a lot of trash talking going back and forth. The owner of the Milwaukee Bucks, whose name escapes me, was saying right before the series got underway, opening round series in the postseason with the Milwaukee Bucks features Bucks Heat. And the Bucks say, hey, we deliberately stacked everything this season so that we could find a way to meet the Heat in the opening round of the playoffs, because we want to kick them in the face for what they did to us in the bubble last year. And sure enough, wow, they did it. Now, weren't they down 0-2 in like every series, the Milwaukee Bucks, the championship Bucks, including the final round against the Phoenix Suns, where they lost the first couple of games, and everybody said, that's it. I mean, they've lucked out at every turn. They caught like the Brooklyn Nets when they were hampered by injuries. James Harden was like a shell of himself there. He was limping around like Verbal Kent in The Usual Suspects there, Kevin Spacey's character. Mm-hmm. And, you could see he was so hobbled. I mean, and they still took him right down to the final second like a nail-biter, right? In Game 7?
Yep.
Where Durant just missed that shot? Or he shot a 2 instead of a 3.
There was no Irving. There was no Harden, really. It was just Durant, and Nets almost won. If his foot was a half a size less, the Nets would have.
If he's 13 and a half instead of 14.
15.
He's size 14 feet. Bob Lanier had the biggest feet in basketball. He was like a size 16 triple A. Might have been triple X. Anyway, and the Bucks. I mean, it was interesting that they won the championship. I know you were burnt by that in the first round bludgeoning.
It's not
The
happening.
fact that they were able to make good on their promise to embarrass the Heat, because once were they not down 0-2 in that series and then came back and annihilated the Heat, or did they sweep
Oh,
them
they
right out
swept
of the
the
building?
crap out of the Heat. The Heat didn't
Swept
win.
them, right?
Swept them. It was a total
Oh, and then
disaster.
they started falling behind 0-2 in every series
Yes,
after
they beat
that.
the crap out of the Heat, and then the other series were tough. And
All
they
right.
won them all.
All right, so worthy champion, they redeemed themselves. You kind of had to like what they did because they sucked it up after being disparaged, and people thought the Greek was going to leave. Remember all the conversation? Oh,
Yes.
he'll never re-sign with the Milwaukee Bucks. Why would he want to live in Milwaukee? Which is a good question.
It's a great question.
No?
I
Why
agree.
would anybody want to live in Milwaukee? What the hell are you talking about? Well, when you could be in any other NBA city where, I mean, they just lap capital upon, cash on any superstar in terms of endorsements, appearances, this, that, the other things. I don't know that you need it if you're making $50 million. Would you go out and do any extra stuff?
For
Would you
money?
be like, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
I mean,
if you're
no.
somebody's going to hand you $1 million to show up and shoot a soda commercial, aren't you
Yes.
going to go?
Yes.
Even if you have $300 million in the bank, right?
Who
You
cares?
need the money, not at all. Like you need, a hemorrhoid. You just don't need it.
I would.
Anyway, so it was interesting because Antetokounmpo, did distinguish himself, and people were saying, he'll never win a championship there, so he does it.
Yes.
And Budenholzer looked like he was going to get fired. So was the
Yes.
general manager.
All of them.
They
Yep.
were finished.
Yep.
Middleton, who I'd never seen make a shot, all of a sudden was on fire and hitting everything. That was great. And I mean, it was interesting. The NBA championship run this year, as the Phoenix Suns rose from the ashes
Yep.
and became a prominent franchise. People doubted them. Then it looked like they had the thing in the bag.
Yes.
They were red hot to close out the season, and it looked like they had the championship in the bag, and then they just absolutely fell apart against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Ayton was a disaster and useless. Booker was really good, but was frustrated at times. Paul was banged up a little bit and not the same guy that he'd been all year. Yes, it was very annoying the last couple of few games in that NBA Finals.
All right. I don't think we'll dwell on the NHL. The Lightning, the interesting thing from the South Florida standpoint was they beat the Panthers in the first round of the playoffs. They got that Khrushchev guy, Nikita Khrushchev, and he came out of nowhere, came off of IR. Only in hockey could you drop into the postseason after not playing a second of the regular season and be the star of the postseason.
Yeah, exactly. It was
Kucherov. Yeah, not Khrushchev.
Well,
I keep
Khrushchev,
thinking he's the guy with the shoe. Yeah, the Russian dictator.
he's not a
Nikita
dictator.
Khrushchev.
Kucherov.
Who was the guy with the birthmark? That was Gorbachev, right?
Yes.
Khrushchev, he was
Well,
an enemy of the United States forever, right? Always saying obnoxious things about our man, John F. Kennedy. You have to be kidding me. Come on, Nikita. Come clean.
Khrushchev.
You're burying your adoring public there, under the guise that you're doing them some good. All right, so the Lightning win with Khrushchev, leading the way. They beat the Panthers in the first round, and then they beat the snot out of everybody else. And you could make the case that the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup final last year made the best acquittal of anybody that went up against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who went, was that not back-to-back for the Lightning in terms of championships? Yes, because they won in the bubble also.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Amazing how well run that franchise has been by comparison to the results that we were getting here in South Florida, where there is probably, of all of the professional sports, only the slightest semblance of a rivalry of in-state teams, where the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Panthers usually stage some kind of war when they get together and seem to have no great love for each other. I believe the acrimony for some reason is real there. It never happened on the football front here. Do you care? Maybe now with Brady on the Buccaneers, would you care if the Dolphins play the Buccaneers? No, nobody cares about the Buccaneers.
Before Brady, the Jags and the Bucks, we don't have rivalries with them. I root them on before Brady.
Brad Johnson wins the Super Bowl. Doug Williams was there in the very beginning. John McKay was, hysterical as a head coach of the hapless and just absolutely clueless Tampa Bay Buccaneer team that came into the league a long, long time ago, but essentially irrelevant, right? And nobody cares about Jacksonville, right? They're the dumbest franchise maybe in all of professional football, and especially embarrassed after this Urban Meyer thing that happened this year. So that'll be another part of the legacy of 2021. But the Lightning winning the Stanley Cup, no surprise. And with, I guess the fanfare was what? What were they drinking out of the cup there? something. I mean, there was always some embarrassment associated with the Stanley Cup, although it happened this year with the Lombardi Trophy more so than the Stanley Cup,
Yes.
where that ended up in some bizarre places, like in a canal behind Tom Brady's house or whatever that was.
When Brady was chucking it, throwing it from boat to boat, they did a boat parade with the COVID stuff. So they were like flinging it from boat to boat, and that was weird.
Yeah. All right. So NHL, it was sort of, nice to see it come back with some fans in the stands. 2021 ended with the Lightning winning the championship. Did they have fans in the stands there? I think they did on a limited basis during the course of that year, right? It was the year before that they had nothing, and they contested the finals in the bubble, and they shut down the season. And how long has this been going on? That's the theme of the song here with COVID-19. How long has this been going on?
Well,
forever?
It was last year that some places had fans, and California didn't. It was last season, and the Super Bowl, I think, had some fans, but it was like a percentage, and it was very different than what you normally expect for the Super Bowl.
What's that guy's name out in California? Gavin Newsom? Is that the governor of California? Handsome guy, no question.
The recall that
they tried to recall. They wanted to put. That's how Schwarzenegger got in on a recall of some other schmank that they came to hate after they voted overwhelmingly for the Democratic candidate, as you might imagine, because in every presidential election, which way does California go, my friend? Yes. Fortunately, for us that bleed liberal blue went to the left there.
Yes.
Unbelievable. All right, so the Braves win the World Series. That was the other championship, or one of the other championships. There's two left here to discuss in our 2021 year-end closeout. And that was great. I mean, they lost Acuna, and Ozuna also went down different reasons. Acuna to an ugly injury that occurred against the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, early in the year.
Yeah, and that was, towards, I guess, it was June or something, maybe getting into July. And you were looking at the Braves and thinking they're really underachieving for the clientele that they have on the roster there, the players they have on the roster. But they really weren't, starting to gel at all until after the All-Star game when they became the best team in baseball. And then, of course, came into the playoffs as a red-hot squad and managed to mow everybody down, including the Houston Astros, which many people were, absolutely thrilled by. Because there seems to be immense acrimony and anger directed at the Astros for the cheating incident there, especially among Yankee fans who feel that they were robbed in that World Series when Altuve was wiring up like it was some guy who just flipped for the FBI. You want me to go in there and get him to say what? That he did it? Okay. The guy that's wearing a wire inevitably looks extremely nervous, does he not? Oh, you've never been in this situation.
I've never been wired, or I'm thinking wired around. I have to say that. So I don't know.
Unfortunately, I can't say that.
I was going to say
I haven't had that experience.
I
would never wear a wire. Never. I would take the punishment. But, and unfortunately, in a reverse situation. And believe me, nothing favorable comes out on the wiretap. Nothing favorable to the person that they want to crucify. Right? Anything that you said that would absolutely exonerate you, that's all gone. Well, that was garbled. We didn't have that. And then, like a ransom note, a verbal ransom note, they edit together some comments, and all of a sudden, you're saying some very disparaging things about the people that you're involved with. So, they tend to take a dim view of you. And that's what they play for those people, too. So they make sure, okay, yeah, we want to prosecute. That's a whole other story. I don't know that I want to tell it either. The Braves, though, deserving winners, and they were 12-1 to win the World Series before the season. I almost took a piece of the Braves. I was out in Las Vegas. I thought, wow, why don't I bet this? And I didn't do it. Now, you don't have to be in Las Vegas to do this anymore. Obviously, you can bet it anywhere. You can punch it up right here on the computer at home. And I didn't take a flyer on that. Then they became a 50-1 proposition. Can you imagine? I mean, somebody had money on this when they were getting buried, and Acuna was down, and Ozuna was in trouble. And you thought, there's no way they win the World Series this year. Zero chance, even though they looked like they were the coming team last year in the postseason. Remember, they almost made it into the World Series, and then that's been their history. If Mark Lawrence was talking about them, he would say, well, they're 0-21 in this spot, even with Glavine and Maddox.
Exactly.
They were like 1 for 20 in this position. But came on 50-1 odds, a very nice price on a team that was going to go on and win the World Series. And then even before the playoffs started, they were a relative long shot. So the Braves winning the World Series, that was a lot of fun. And as long as it wasn't Houston, I think was a lot of people's opinion on that. And then finally, the Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Wow, what a story that was in last year and right at the beginning of the year. And you thought there was no chance, right? They're 7-5. They're sitting there. They're looking like shit. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're making excuses. And Brady's upset, and he's at odds with Arians. And Arians is stuffing his face with Malamars and moon pies and trying to figure out a way to appease Tommy Boy, but at the same time does not want to indicate to anybody that he is not in charge of the team. He's one of those guys, right?
Yep.
They can't let anybody know that Tom Brady is actually calling all of the shots and eclipses in authority the general manager, the president, the owner. He tells the owner what to do of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you think he's putting up with Bruce Arians crap? No.
No.
So Arians eventually capitulates and says, what? You need Antonio Brown? Yeah, sure. We'll bring this nutbag in. Anything for you, Tommy. They do it, and the next thing you know, they run the table. They go Willie Mosconi, run the table, and win the Super Bowl. Thanks in large part to Matt LaFleur, who helped them out immensely by not giving Aaron Rodgers one shot to beat them there in the NFC Championship game, which was probably, I would have to go, if I was going to go year-ender, the dumbest play call in the history.
It's up there.
Certainly of 2021, right? Where he opted for the field goal, a completely meaningless field goal that was going to put them in a position to still need a touchdown and get the ball back.
With Aaron Rodgers, yep.
With Aaron Rodgers, the king of this salvation from the dead. Whenever the game is on the line, who would you want throwing a rock? Would you not want to give this guy one more shot? Of course. It's like denying Jerry West another shot at making a free throw. You have to be kidding me.
Yep.
Okay, so he missed one. And there it was. I mean, in this new philosophy, Lubie, that we're seeing from John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens, where it's do or die. Let's go for the 2-point conversion and either win or lose the game right here.
Every time.
There are plays during the course of a game where you have to decide we're either going to win or lose the game right here. And that's what Matt LaFleur was facing, and he faced it like a wimp.
Yep.
Give me a blindfold, please, and a last drag on a cigarette. I'm really not sure I'm ready to go for this, right? You're facing a firing squad, Matt. Don't bail out. Go for it. Tell them to go bleep themselves, right?
Like, I love that Harbaugh does it with Tyler Huntley and a struggling Lamar Jackson, but LaFleur went through it with Rodgers.
Brett Favre, no wonder. Not Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. It may as well have been Brett Favre. But he would have done the same thing with Favre, who would have strangled him after the ball game. So Rodgers got pissed off, but that story somehow has resolved itself as the Green Bay Packers definitely look like a dynamite team going into the postseason. All right, speaking of postseason, our holiday edition, special edition here on Ion Channel. We thank you guys for joining us. He is Mike Lubitz. We'll do something again tomorrow here with you on the show as we head into the new year.
Segredo action will come tomorrow.
Oh, very good. Yes, we'll have some time there with the great Tony Segredo. We'll go old school. So thanks so much for joining us here on the program. For Jack Namer, Amy, all the good people, Brad Schiller that run Ion Channel. IonChannel.com is where you find us. 2022 is going to be our year, so watch for big things happening there and big announcements and all kinds of transactions taking place and an expansion of this program to new levels. Hopefully new heights, new barometers that we'll have to measure up to as we take you into 2022 with our audio and video streaming on Ion Channel. From Mike Lubitz, I'm Jeff Deforrest, and we will see you next time. Now that the holidays and the new year is approaching.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.